Welcome to Self-Awareness Assessments e-course number 2. My name is Susie Price, and today I'll be helping you understand your TTI Success Insights Motivators Assessment results. They say there are 2 important days in our lives: the day we were born and the day we discover why. Your Motivators Assessment results will shed tremendous insight into why you do what you do and into what most motivates and energizes you. When you're able to build your life around what motivates and energizes you, you will find that you are feeling more on purpose and you have more direction and excitement about every day. So make sure that your report is in front of you now. You have it printed out so you can refer to it as we move forward. Our focus is today to make sure you understand your report and that you can start using the information in your report to have more awareness around truly what drives and motivates you, increasing your own energy and focus throughout the day. And it'll also help you understand others more clearly. For me, it has shed tremendous insight into why things have worked or not worked in the past. I remember years ago I was on a team, and the entire time we worked together, I felt like a fish out of water. They were great people, it was a good company, but it wasn't a really good fit for me, and I never completely understood why until I received and looked at my motivators report. So knowing what energizes you and what demotivates you can help you make better decisions about how you spend your time. And it really, I found for myself, increases my energy and motivation on a daily basis. So we want to make sure that you benefit as well. Okay, what I'd like you to do is take a minute and answer these questions. All you have to do is put your answer on your page. Don't worry about writing out the question, but on the front of your report, fill in the blank. How would you answer each one of these statements? I am a, and put your title there. I'm a consultant, so I would say I'm a consultant because I. How would you answer that? I work at my company because, and while working here, I want to gain. Take a few minutes and craft your answers there on the front of your report. And then at the end of this program, we'll refer back to how you answer the report. We'll tie them into your report results. Now, let's play a quick word association game. Tell me what you think and feel when you hear this phrase, wake up eager. What comes to mind? Go ahead, say it out loud. I'm listening. Here's what I usually hear from folks. Different comments from the crowd will be things like, you gotta be kidding. Or, I need coffee to wake up eager. And here are some other comments that show up. What did you say? Well, waking up eager and bringing that up now, one, it's personally and professionally important to me in my business, and it really relates to the power of this assessment, the Motivators Assessment. My mission and vision is to create a world of employees who wake up eager. What I'd like to do now is share with you my definition of waking up eager and tie in to that your assessment results. All right, here's the definition of waking up eager. To start and live each day with genuine energy and focused direction. I believe that was our intention and has been our intention. That's what we want in our lives, to wake up eager and feel on purpose more often than not. And I also believe that there are little and big things that we can do to impact whether we look forward to a day or dread it. And one of the keys is being able to do and be about what energizes us the most, being able to spend time using our talents and our interests and our strengths to the fullest. So if you reflect on the past 7 days, how many of your days have been wake up eager days? If you think about the different people that you interact with, your customers, your colleagues, your neighbors, your family members, shopkeepers, the people you interact with on a daily basis, what percentage of them are waking up eager on a regular basis? What I often hear is that folks are having a couple of days a week that are focused, full of energy and direction, and they guess that probably 20% of the population or the people they see are waking up eager. What do you think's the problem? Why are we not enjoying and looking forward to our days more often? What would you say is stopping most of us? Well, one of the things is I believe we've gotten away from knowing exactly what energizes us. And when we can't name and claim this area, we can get sidetracked into doing what others want us to do. I love this comedian, Lily Tomlin. She says, ever since I was a little girl, I always wanted to be somebody. Now I see I should have been more specific. The Motivators Report is going to help you get more specific. It's going to help you more clearly direct your time and efforts toward what motivates you. And you're going to find and feel more energy and direction. The motivators part of the assessment, if you remember our analogy of the buoy, is the middle part. The disc, and what we did in the previous e-course, is around how you work. It's what other people see. The motivators and interests is why. So these are things that are shaped by your life. It's not seen by others, and very important to having a full wake-up life and days. And they actually drive your behaviors. So it's a very important part of the puzzle. The Motivators Report is based on information and research which began in 1928. This is when a German psychologist defined 6 motivators or interests that consciously or subconsciously drive how we feel and determines what motivates and energizes us. The areas that you scored the highest are the areas that will motivate and inspire and energize you the most, and truly will give you clues into the gifts and strengths you bring to the world. The areas that you scored the highest are the areas that were shaped and influenced by your environment, by genetics, and the individual spiritual intentions that you brought with you. I encourage you to use this information to help explain the past and point you toward a more wake-up, eager life and days. Use this as a window into understanding what your expectations are, how your experiences have shaped you. And with each of these, we're going to go through each of the motivators now. I have named each one as, I call it the soul of each person. It's not your whole soul, of course, but I'm doing that because quite often people will judge these motivators as one being better than the other. And the key here is that each of us have intentions to add value and that we give back to the world in accordance with our natural gifts. And they are most likely tied to these motivators. So with the first motivator, we see the theoretical motivator. The theoretical person has a passion for learning. So you see there, I call it the learner's soul. This is, I want to learn, research, solve problems. If you're high theoretical, you're going to be most energized when you can be a product expert and when you can attend training and conventions, seminars, and classes. You're naturally curious. You want to know. You want to analyze and understand. You want to get to the deeper meaning of most things. And usually if you pass a bookstore, it's hard not to walk in and buy a book. So you are driven by intellectual curiosity and the need to know. If this is your number 1 or number 2 value or interest, you're going to become stressed out when you can't learn, which makes sense. When people are not objective and use purely subjective reasoning, that can be a stressor for you. And you're going to become agitated if you have to sell a product that you don't fully know the ins and outs of, that you haven't been able to represent or research. If you have to represent anything that you don't have a solid handle on all the details, you're not going to feel comfortable, and it will be a demotivator for you. Some famous people who have the theoretical and knowledge learner's soul could be Albert Einstein, Oprah Winfrey, she loves to learn, and Bill Gates. So they're all do it in their own style, which would be the buoy, the disc, but they're driven by this thirst for knowledge and information. The next motivator is the utilitarian economic motivator. I call this the business person's soul. This is a person who is most energized through work and loves getting a return on your efforts. If you're high utilitarian economic, you're passionate about capitalism and getting results, you are driven to move things forward. If this is your number 1 or number 2 value, you're going to become stressed out when resources are wasted. You're going to dislike it if time or money or investments that you make do not net a good financial return. Senior-based pay incentives will make you nutty. You have a very objective focus. If you see with this cartoon here, you're going to work for the fun of it. So people who judge people who love to work aren't probably high utilitarian. Okay? Some famous examples of folks who are high utilitarian. We've got Donald Trump. He's probably the extreme version of utilitarian, but then you've also got Condoleezza Rice. She's very focused on getting results. You've got Warren Buffett and Barbara Walters. They're all doing it in their own style, their own disc style, but very much focused on the bottom line, focused on business, focused on getting results and maximizing resources. They bring great talents to the world, as does each of these motivator areas. The aesthetic motivator. This is the balanced and sensitive soul. If you're high aesthetic, you're most energized when you can create and work in a harmonious environment. And you must be able to honor your need, not want, but need for work-life balance. Self-improvement and self-expression is key to your daily motivation and wake-up eager life. The balanced and sensitive soul. So what if this is your number one or number two motivator? What's going to stress you out the most is if you have an environment that doesn't allow for personal growth. If your surroundings are disrupted or chaotic, that is going to cause extreme stress for you. And if you're unable to fully express your thoughts and opinions, and if your creativity is stifled, that will also create a challenging environment and stress for you. Some famous people, think about Ted Turner, loves the environment, is very sensitive and creative in that way. So environmentalists tend to fall in the art aesthetic. They have high aesthetic. I would also put Ronald Reagan on this list. His passion for the mountains and the beautiful area that they lived in their private time. You see actresses and actors, Walt Disney. So those are some famous examples of people who enjoy expression, who focus on subjective feelings. They really notice disharmony, focus on personal growth and creativity, and sensitivity to the environment. Now we're on to the social altruistic motivator. If you're high social altruistic, you'll be most energized when you can help customers, employees, anyone. You thrive when you can mentor, train, or coach. This is the helping others soul. People who are high social altruistic tend to thrive when they can get involved in community events for organizations that you care about, like nonprofits. If others' needs are met, you're energized. If this is your number one or two value or interest, you're going to become stressed out when there's too much objective focus on the bottom line and when decisions and actions are made that are insensitive to people. While that may bother some other folks some, if you're high social altruistic, it will demotivate you in a major way. Some famous examples of people who are high social altruistic: Mother Teresa, Princess Diana, and then I like to use the picture of that's Florence Nightingale. So this shows the generosity of time and talent and resources, general sense of selflessness and compassion. And your focus is, if you're high social altruistic, is you want to eliminate pain and conflict. We're on to the fifth motivator, which is traditional regulatory. This is the process and order soul. If you're high traditional regulatory, you're going to be really energized when you can reinforce the rules and make sure that the systems that are in place are followed and that other people understand and embrace the rules in this process. You bring focus on processes and regulation, and you're really good at setting traditions within a company or at home. You're really motivated to create a sense of order and structure, and you bring protocol to meetings and daily life. If this is your number one or number two value, you're going to become stressed out when you experience opposition to the system or to your beliefs. If things are too loose and structured, that will not be very satisfying to people who are high traditional regulatory. Some famous examples of people: Gandhi. So he had this system of his spiritual beliefs, the Pope, and a police officer. So someone who's very principled, they enjoy and like following a system and very clear on their purpose. They're usually very focused and believe and feel that the rules or processes that they are enforcing are for a worthy cause. The next motivator and the last one is the individualistic political motivator. This is someone who, if it's you, you're most energized by advancement and power. You love to, and you're really good at forming alliances with others. You're good at directing yourself and others, and you like to have and be the best of everything. I call this the power player soul. If this is your number 1 or number 2 value, you're going to become very stressed out if you can't advance or if you lose power or position. Some famous examples: Bill Clinton, Martin Luther King, John F. Kennedy. So you see a lot of political folks, inspirational speakers, very charismatic in their demeanors, like to use and are able to use power, good at strategizing and achieving position. All right, we've done a quick overview of the 6 motivators. Let's do a review real quick. High theoretical, that's the learner's soul. I want to research, find the deeper meaning of things. Utilitarian economic, the business person's soul. I want to get results, move things forward. Individualistic political, that's the power player's soul. I want to be out front. I want to share charisma. I want to lead. The aesthetic soul, which is the balanced and sensitive soul. I'm creative and I want to have an environment that is harmonious. Social altruistic, I thrive when I can coach, mentor, serve, help others. Traditional regulatory is the process and order soul. I thrive when I can create order and process and help others follow the system. Now let's look at your report. Go to your report at page 38. The page numbers sometimes can vary a bit. And let's see what your report says about what energizes and motivates you. Let's look and see what we've got here on this page. On the left-hand side of this graph, you're going to see the motivators listed there. And in the center box, you see a little gray box. That's where 68% of the population ranked when they took this assessment. And the bar in the middle is the population mean. Your answers are showing where the star landed in relation to the population. So by comparing your answers to the population mean, you can determine how much that area motivates and energizes you. If you're on the left-hand side of the gray bar and mean area, that area is probably not a key driver for you. So if you look at the example in this report for Jane Citizen, you can see that she's below the population mean in traditional regulatory. This means that spending time on maintaining rules and reinforcing what's in place is not something that interests Jane. In fact, if Jane's in an environment that's very structured and requires her to do that kind of work or spend time in that environment, she could possibly be very demotivated and claim that she's not having very many wake-up eager days. You can also see in Jane's report that she's extremely lower than the population mean in social altruistic area. So any interest that you have that ranks 15 points above or below the population mean indicates a viewpoint that's very different from the mainstream. And so that just says that this preference is very strong and it will be more noticeable by others. Whereas if you have a preference that's in the mainstream, it's not as noticeable by others and it's not as powerful for you. On the right-hand side of the bars, you can see what does drive Jane. She is passionate about getting results, the utilitarian, and she's passionate about individualistic. So because it's so strong for her, she will be highly agitated, not just a little agitated, but highly agitated if she cannot focus in the areas that are crucial to her energy. So she has the business person and the power player's soul. And that's where she's most interested. And if she can orient her work and her life and her days more around that, she's going to have and create more wake-up eager days for herself. Turn in your report now to page 40. Here is another visual representation of your motivators. At the bottom of the graph, you can see where the items are ranked. And for this person, you can see that their number 1 and number 2 is theoretical and traditional, which means this is the learner soul and the process and order soul. So going to love and to order and systematize information and knowledge. You can also see with this visual where your motivator scored in relation to the population mean. So on this person, you can see how it's more than 15 points below the population mean on the individualistic political, which is the power play soul. So for this person, low individualistic will mean they're not going to have an interest in being out front, leading, getting the attention that a high individualistic person would have. They also might find that they may misunderstand or not get along with people who are high individualistic very easily because they just don't have the same interests. Not one is better than the other. It's just different focuses and different things that others value. Stay on the same page in your report. I've just got a different visual here to recap what we've been talking about. So what you have listed on your report as number 1 and number 2 are the areas that will most energize you. What you have listed as areas 3 and 4 will generally be areas that have some interest or appeal, but aren't the strongest. Your last 2 interests will probably not be big players for you in that they're not areas that strongly motivate or inspire you to take action. I'd like to mention here that just because you rated an area in this report as a 5 or 6, it doesn't mean that you're lacking in any way or that you're never ever going to want to do what this motivator indicates that it focuses on. It just means that that area is not an area that fully energizes you and is probably not what you want to spend 5 or 6 days a week doing. And you don't want to build your career around that. So if we use an example like this person, Jane Citizen, on the page here, she's someone who has the soul of a learner and a business person, high theoretical and high utilitarian. So she's going to wake up eager more often when she can be a product expert and when she can use that knowledge to get results. She could be in technology, she could be in consulting, she could be a committee member at the PTA if she has to research something and then can apply that knowledge. That's when she's going to be most energized and wake up and look forward to her day. She's not energized when she needs to spend a lot of her time working on the environment or creative projects, or if she's coaching and mentoring people one-on-one. This doesn't mean that she's not interested in helping others or that she doesn't like to take an art class. It just means that that's not what she values and is interested in the most, and so it's not going to bring her great energy. Oftentimes people are sensitive to having the social or altruistic area being low, feeling like there's something wrong with that. There's no judgment here. I counter that worry with this thought. Would you have told Albert Einstein to stop studying and start feeding the poor? Albert Einstein was high theoretical, and he wasn't high social altruistic. So Einstein stepped into his purpose and his wake-up eager life by helping the people most, by focusing on what his talents and strengths were, which was the learning soul. So it's not a competition. You're not trying to have one area be higher than the other. These areas don't generally change very much. They're not better than another, and there's no judgment. This report and your priorities listed here are just reflecting back to you the decisions and some insight that you've made along the way that are based on what energizes and motivates you. So hopefully by now you have a richer understanding of the different motivators listed in your report. And what I recommend that you do now is go back and reread your report and look at your items in your report are being listed in order of your priority numbers, and look at your top 2. Look at what's situational and look at what's number 5 or 6 areas that are indifferent or negative. Read those statements. Make notes around things that you agree with, things you question, and then In the back of the report is a nice simple page that I think is good to use. It's the Quality Improvement Action Plan. Make notes around things that you're going to continue to do on a daily basis that energize and motivate you, and use your top 2 as insights into what those areas are. Also, look for things or areas that you will change or modify. And what will you stop doing or try to eliminate? As you synthesize and use this data, it will help you really craft a meaningful experience every day. So let's look at a few clues or insights as we get closer to our close today around each of these. If you're high individualistic political, are you able to get out front? Are you able to advance and receive recognition? Acknowledge and embrace that and find ways to add that to your life. Theoretical and knowledge, is that where you are? Are you the learner soul? What are you doing to learn? Do you have time to become an expert? Can you set your environment up in little and small ways to help with that? Utilitarian economic, are you able to make your hours pay off? Can you get more results? Honor those preferences and those talents. The social altruistic, helper soul. When do you coach and serve others? If you don't have time to do it at work, can you get involved in organizations that you care about? Can you do more of that? High aesthetic, are you balancing out your life? And are you able to express? And if not, what can you do to do more of that? Traditional regulatory, honor that you bring this great structure and focus and that you can help in that area, and find ways to make sure you're able to use those strengths. Remember, we started today with you filling out your answers to these questions. Flip your report to the first page there and look at your answers. Can you see how your answers tie to your motivators? They talk about and express why you do what you do. For me, for example, I shared my fill in the blank was, I am a consultant because I love to learn and love to make money. My motivators, I'm passionate theoretical and passionate utilitarian. So can you see a correlation like I did? It's kind of interesting how we are already thinking and moving in the area that energizes and motivates us. It's the report actually sheds some insight and gives us more clarity around that. So we looked at the 6 motivators, got them listed here in the different soul areas for each of us. A good story as we head to a close today is about a famous author, and he's somebody who is living in accordance with his values and his interests and his motivators. I would guess that he wakes up eager most days. He talks about he was on vacation at a very fancy, nice international resort years ago, and he couldn't sleep. So he got up, it was 4 o'clock in the morning, and he went downstairs to the hotel lobby to look at his email. He's sitting there quietly minding his own business when some partygoers roll in from the nightclub, and they look at him and working, and they just give him kind of a withering look, and they say in a pretty loud whisper, really wasn't a whisper, "Isn't that sad? That guy comes here on vacation and he's stuck checking his email. He can't even enjoy his time off." As he tells the story, he shares that the funny thing is other than sleeping, there's nothing he'd rather been doing at that moment than checking his email. He said, "I'm lucky enough to spend my time doing things that match my values and interests." So I believe we all, no matter where we currently sit, can create this kind of internal and external synergy. And one key to the wake up eager life, that life and days that start and live with genuine energy and focused direction, it's creating days that you love and using your gifts, is the information that you found in this report. What I find is, unlike the behaviors report, this information is something you have to think about, focus on, ruminate around, and look for examples of it in your life for it to have more meaning and more impact. And generally over time, I believe if people focus here, they will see it and be able to, in a more conscious and focused way, create more wake-up eager days. So today what we've done is we've spent time looking at and helping you understand your Motivators report. Our goal was to help you build more awareness around what energizes you and what motivates you, and help you see a window through which others might operate that have different motivators for you. In the future, I'll have more e-courses that go into more detail around how does the DISC behaviors and motivators interact. So what does that mean? What additional information can that share? Insight can that shed for me? And then we'll also talk about more specifically how we use behaviors to lead and sell. We're going to look at more information about the motivators. What are the conflicts that can happen between the two different motivators within yourself and with others, and then how to use this information to make more energizing life decisions. So I appreciate you for being here today and for spending time on this e-course, joining me on this journey. You can reach me by email at susie@pricelessprofessional.com. You can also call me at 770-578-6976, and I will be open answering any questions that you have. And if you have any interest in additional assessments, if you need posters, workshops, team building sessions, or coach training around certification in these tools, please let me know. I appreciate spending time with you, and may every day be a wake up eager day. Take care until we meet again.